Hello, welcome to Love Boys Info. My name is Shaw Kain, and this is my weekly podcast. I've only just started this podcast recently, so please send us your feedback, ideas for topics, and anything else you'd like me to explore. Love Boys Infos came about because I had BL audiences asking for additional information behind the series or actors. With a complex story not me portrayed, I started writing about music, artwork, and politics behind the series. From there, I've had the honor to talk to some of my friends on this platform, mainly in Cantonese and Mandarin, about BL and their perspectives. Today, I am going to talk about KinnPorsche series. Again, I've spoken about my feelings toward the production on social media, but have only been met with the most aggressive feedback about how I should stop watching this if I do not like it, or if I do not like watching mature contents. The series helped me explain the experiences and emotions of sexual violence visually, and it helped me validate my experience and allow me to further elaborate on this podcast. KinnPorsche is definitely not the only Thai BL series that have elements of sexual assault, coercion, non-consent, and power imbalance. There were many others in the past that also sparked similar conversation, and there are conversation about objectification of BL and on-screen gay characters that turn into reality, where BL actors have received requests from fans to show off and talk about their bodies. Today's podcast will only talk about how KinnPorsche is triggering for victims of sexual violence. So, warning, if this is triggering for you or if you don't want any spoilers, please stop here. We will be delving into some very personal experiences and we'll be referencing some of the scenes. In the last English episode, I spoke briefly about how the non consensual kiss between KinnPorsche in episode 3 reminded me of the first time I was kissed without my consent. I could remember the smell, the weather, where it took place, and everything about it except his face. At the time of this podcast, we were at episode 7, where KinnPorsche were kidnapped, released, found the person who caused the trouble at the casino. At the end of episode 7, we saw Vegas trying to kiss Porsche in the bathroom, only to have Kinn who busted in, pointing a gun at Vegas, saying that it's him who wears the ring, which presumably means that he's the one who holds the power, and ordered Vegas to leave. At which point, Kinn kissed Porsche and undressed him, while you saw Porsche holding Kinn's neck with his hand. Some argued that Porsche had confessed his feelings for Kinn and that their relationship is of mutual love, even at the very beginning of the intimate relationship, because Porsche found out that Kinn wouldn't just kiss anybody and he was special. Kinn kissed him on his lips because he liked him. And some audiences call this a Stockholm effect, even if Porsche did fall in love with Kinn. And in my own experience, I think this is way more complex than that. KinnPorsche's relationship started with power imbalance. Kinn was the boss. Family hired Porsche because he desperately needed money to support his family. He was working with one of the biggest mafia in Thailand, taken away to a location that segregated him from the rest of the world. The world has its own rules and even laws, and his life now belongs to the Tirapanyaku family. Once upon a time, I was in a high profile case involving a person with a lot of power. A lot. Someone that I've also actually had a lot of respect for and learned from. When the infamous story got out in the media, it became a sex centric story. It was all about the steamy details, and someone have even offered to turn that story into porn. It's just like the Monica Lewinsky story, where we only interested in the stain on her dress. I remember the fear within me when I was asked to stay behind unlocked doors. I remember the phone call when I was told to come up to his office. I remember being told to pick up that hotel key card, or that request to stay for the night, or even bring condoms in the next time. And at the same time, I also remembered some amazing inspirational conversation we had. Those that helped me advance myself. I've also remembered how it openly flirted with me in public settings. I also remember the time when I was given so-called power to be in this abusive relationship. I have special access to his schedule, and I was able to invite him to events whenever the community asked if I could help. It felt like I had superpowers that no one else had. I felt like I could trade my body for success, even though none of this so called success actually gave me any actual powers. If I let him do whatever to me, I was thinking maybe I could get somewhere. My story had recently turned into a mini series, And I remember telling the writers I wouldn't call that rape because he didn't force himself on me. I wasn't under the influence and I knew what I was doing. But I was pressured. When he told me to stay behind in front of everyone, I remember that tiny sound in my head screaming for help. I was hoping someone would say she couldn't stay and she needs to go now. I was hoping that when we were busted, that it would end our relationship. Just like Porsche, I was less shamed. People blamed me for being the one who lured him into pursuing me. Porsche was blamed for being not careful enough to be drugged. People blamed me for not remembering every detail because any trauma experts will tell you you black out and forget episodes under trauma. KinnPorsche's story was essentially that. Porsche thought he was special. Ken wouldn't kiss anyone else on their lips unless he likes them, and he was the lucky one. My perpetrator tell me all the time he loves me. He even cares about my family. He give me gifts. He would do what he could to please me. He would even get jealous when I'm with someone else. He stalked them online, finding out who they were. I mean, is that love? But just like him, it was him asserting power over us. They were trying to kill all other predators solely because they want full power control. It was never about love. It was simply them not wanting anyone else to touch the toys. I still have flashback over the relationship, and it isn't one that I could easily forget. There was nothing romantic about that relationship. When I spoke about the abuse in public, I was symbolically killed. My world stopped for more than 10 years, and from time to time, I still receive online abuse, and I am still living with this aftermath. When people said they recognized me from somewhere, I can't help but think, oh, they knew me because of that. And for Porsche, he could have physically died if he refused the pursuit. This is why the KinnPorsche sexual violence story matter. There are millions of people around the world who have lived experience of sexual assault as a result of power imbalance. The storyline portrayed is irresponsible for victims and their families. Thousands of women and men in Thailand experiences sexual violence every day. By supporting sexual violence as romance, help supports and justify the actions of rapists as norm. This is why I will not stop talking about the toxicity of KinnPorsche. Thank you for listening in and thank you for the dialogue. Please like, subscribe, and share the platform. And please leave comments. I would love to hear from you about your experiences or understanding of this story and how you see KinnPorsche the series going forward. Thank you for listening. Hopefully, we'll talk to you again soon. See ya.